is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
First reading. A reading from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 25, verses 6 to 10. On this mountain, the Lord of hosts will provide for all peoples a feast of rich food and choice wines, juicy, rich food and pure choice wines. On this mountain, he will destroy the veil that veils all peoples, the web that is woven over all nations. He will destroy death forever. The Lord God will wipe away the tears from all faces. The reproach of his people he will remove from the whole earth, for the Lord has spoken. On that day it will be said, Behold our God, to whom we looked to save us. This is the Lord, for whom we looked. Let us rejoice and be glad that he has saved us. For the hand of the Lord will rest on this mountain. This is the word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 15, verses 29 to 37. At that time, Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, went up on the mountain and sat down there. Great crowds came to him, having with them the lame, the blind, the deformed, the mute, and many others. They placed them at his feet, and he cured them. The crowds were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the deformed made whole, the lame walking, and the blind able to see, and they glorified the God of Israel. Jesus summoned his disciples and said, My heart is moved with pity from the crowd, for they have been with me now for 3 days, and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, for fear they may collapse on the way. The disciples said to him, Where could we ever get enough bread in this deserted place to satisfy such a crowd? Jesus said to them, How many loaves do you have? 7, they replied, and a few fish. He ordered the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, gave thanks, broke the loaves, and gave them to the disciples, who in turn gave them to the crowds. They all ate and were satisfied. They picked up the fragments left over, 7 baskets full. The Gospel of the Lord.
My dear friends, Jesus had compassion for people. Compassion, my dear friends, is showing mercy and showing love and concern. Love and concern, my dear friends, is not a materialistic thing. Love and compassion, my dear friends, is a spiritual treasure that we give to other people. Therefore, my dear friends, compassion is a spiritual experience. In our relationships, we need to encourage and entertain compassion, love, and mercy so that our actions, our words will be comforting others. In the Gospel today, we see how Jesus had compassion for the people when about 5,000 people came to hear him preach. Among the people who came, my dear friends, as the Gospel narrates, there were people who were crippled, blind, deaf, and dumb, and paralyzed. It shows, my dear friends, that people who came to Jesus had some kind of physical need, but Jesus filled them and cured their spiritual need more than the physical need. Therefore, my dear friends, we too are called upon with our infirmities, with our sicknesses, with our worries, with our concerns. Go to Jesus, But Jesus will fill us with His love and compassion. And my dear friends, we too are called upon to reach out to others in that same love and compassion. Jesus directed His disciples, you give them something to eat. That was not just a fulfillment of a physical need, but it was a pre-sign of a much more greater, higher fulfillment of the Eucharist, of Jesus giving Himself to feed the people. Therefore, my dear friends, in our lives too, we are called upon to reach out to people and to give them Jesus. In our world, as we are experiencing difficulties, our problems, our worries and our concerns, my dear friends, we are not just human beings who do some interaction or some transactions, but we are people who relate to others in faith. Therefore, there should be a spiritual enhancement in our reaching out to others, in our interactions with others, my dear friends. We need to always show that love and compassion, as Jesus showed love and compassion to the people who came. Therefore, let us, my dear friends, during this season of Advent, prepare our hearts, prepare ourselves to give Jesus to others, not only to receive Jesus, but to give Jesus to others during this Christmas.